resting after they had a accomplishment? Or have you ever achieved something and instead of celebrating, you just start chasing the next thing? And that was me. So yesterday I went to a identity workshop and it was called like switching your identity. And basically the workshop was essentially around like basically catching any type of blocks or any type of fears that's basically that may be holding you back. So there was a point where the facilitator told us we were in a group and they told us to close our eyes to see what is that like deeper fear. Like obviously we did other exercise before that, but she was like, what is that deeper fear? So, when I closed my eyes, I don't know what I was expecting, but maybe I was expecting to hear like, oh, maybe I'm afraid to fail or some, the typical things you usually hear. And what was surprising is that when I closed my eyes, all I heard was to be satisfied and happy with my life. And I was like, wait, what? That don't make any sense. Because that's usually everyone's goal, right? Is to be happy and satisfied with your life. Um, and I realized that what was behind it is it meant that if I was happy, like the fear of happy and being satisfied really stemmed from the idea that if I was happy and satisfied with my life, it meant that I wouldn't have to like figure something out, like overcome a challenge and then move on to the next thing. It would force me to actually just be in my own present. Hey, to whoever's watching. Um, And it made me realize that I would actually have to celebrate my present. I would actually have to accept my present accomplishments. And I would have to rest. And honestly, I saw a pattern because my pattern has been when let's say if I figure something out, right? Or something's hard at first, so it could be a skill or anything like that. So let's say sales, like that was for me. So like if it's like I have to figure something out, and I have to get better at it. Once I would get better at that skill, I would then be like, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Um, that would usually happen. And so then what really happens is I don't actually rest. And I remember the facilitator she started asking a question um, because she was like, that would tell me that you don't really rest. And I was like, well, I do hobbies and all that stuff, but I like finding, like figuring out something, getting really good at it. And then I would then move on to the next thing. Like I don't even have time to like celebrate it because once I figure out that thing and I get really good at it, it's like I don't want to say I get bored, but it's like, oh well, on to the next challenge. Like that's what it feels like. I'm just telling myself, well, on to the next challenge. And then I'll go back into that pattern again where like it's hard and then I get frustrated, then it gets easier, and I'm like, next. So when that fear came up of being happy and satisfied, I was very shocked to hear that because I was like, huh, like that's a very odd thing because usually people are like, oh, like usually people are like, oh, well, my fear is failure or success. Mine was just being happy and satisfied and just resting. Um, and it wouldn't have come up unless I took the identity switch like workshop. I wonder if any of you guys have that typical fear like of success or failure. Um, And then as like the facilitator was analyzing what I said when I said, "Oh, I have a fear of being happy and satisfied." She then said, "That's a deeper." She's like, "It's a deeper fear," and she's like, "It's a deeper fear of vulnerability." And I was like, "What?" And I remember thinking, "That's so broad." And hey, Riley, how are you? And then basically it went deeper, right? Because then she made us like close our eyes again to like really search like, okay, like where did like that deeper vulnerability stem from? And as soon as I remember closing my eyes, I knew exactly what it was. And so I remember back in like I would say maybe COVID days, okay? I was building a singles page. It was called Loving Single Me. It's still up on Facebook. And what was happening, I was building this community. You could tell I love community, right? Always building that. So I was building community, and I was starting to get like really active people on my Facebook page. Like I would like encourage people in their singlehood, and people would actually be commenting every day. Like people would be like every time I post something, they would comment. Like it was one of those things. And then there was something in part side of me that was like, I need someone to guide me. Like I can't trust myself. But at the time, it didn't feel like that. I was just telling myself, "Oh, I need to hire a coach, so they can help me get to the next level." Because I didn't understand at the time that something that felt slow and in alignment, um, was actually growing. But it didn't feel like that. Like yes, I was growing, but I didn't really see it because when you're in it, you don't see it. And then what ended up happening is I hired this coach, and it's no fault of hers, but I would say it's more me. But I hired this coach, and what ended up happening, she ended up sidetracking me, and she told me, "Oh, like go back into the previous business you did that you're trying to get out of." So a little side note is I was in e-commerce, right? I was selling product, and then I got tired of it, and I knew it wasn't in alignment with what I was doing. I made a lot of good money from it, but I knew that season had ended, and I just wanted to motivate people and help them with their purpose. Hey, Chloe, how are you, girl? And so, where was I going with this? And I knew I wanted to motivate people with my purpose, but I think at the time I didn't understand how important it was to listen to your intuition. So, basically, what happened is, and then I stopped posting on the page. And I ended up following the track of what the coach told me. But then the problem was is that when I tried to go back into e-commerce, it didn't do as well because I think my heart wasn't in it. And then plus, like I didn't have my store, so I wasn't as active. Thank you so much, girl. I wasn't as active in it. And so it didn't do as well because obviously I left that life behind and that coach tried to put me back in there. And the thing about it is when you let outside people in, they just look at your accomplishment. They're just gonna look at your accomplishment. They're not looking at obviously your intuition and like how you're feeling. They're just looking at what makes sense. Like now that I look back, and that's why you have to be careful, like who you tell your vision to, or who you seek help because they could end up derailing you. Even though you trust them, and yes, they had a lot of success, they don't see the inner, like they don't see what's going on inside your heart. They don't see like the alignment that you're trying to do with your life and your purpose. They don't see that part. And most of the time, the stuff that you want to do is not going to make sense to other people. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to other people. What makes sense to you, like other people are gonna be like, well, like that doesn't actually make sense, or it doesn't line up. It's not really A plus B. Most of the time, when you have this gut feeling, like this feeling to do something else that's outside, that's basically someone had prayed this over me on uncommon sense, where it's like it just doesn't add up to other people, but it adds up to you. Um, like it's not gonna be normal. Like people are not gonna get it. And and the thing is, if you're not aware about it, you're just gonna be like, "Oh well, it's not working," and then you just move on, type thing. Um. So anyway, so that's what was happening, and um, and going back to the deeper vulnerability, it really came from that because what ended up happening is there would be a lot of times where I would regret like not continuing that Facebook page where it was inspiring women and it was actually growing. Like I remember I checked that today and it grew from like 500 to like thousands of like likes, right? And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like if I had just continued it, like it would have been in a different level. And that's okay. I will share my failures with you guys. Like I regretted it. And I think I held that over myself. And it then led to like me not trusting myself, not trusting my intuition. So when she said like I had a fair deeper vulnerability, that's what clicked for me. It was like there was a side of me that didn't really trust myself to make decisions, or make the right decision or trust my intuition and just be, which led to me always falling into that coach trap. Now, don't get me wrong, coaches have changed my life. Coaches helped me make a ton of money. They helped me pay off a lot of debt, helped me like keep the job away for a very long time. But sometimes with the problem with coaches is that we could start to lean on them. And that was something that I brought up in the class, and a lot of people actually related to it. Where sometimes you could just lean on them because you always have that air. It's like you think about it, you always have that like thinking partner. You always have that person that's like, if you ask them, they'll tell you the direction. Go do this, that, and that. But the problem with that is that there over time you can stop listening to yourself. And then you just do everything based on what they're saying, based on their intuition. And the problem with following, hey Stephanie, how are you doing, girl? And the problem with following other people's intuition is that it may not align with where God is taking you. It may not align with what that voice is telling you to do because it's their thoughts, it's their feelings, and we all know that we're unique. So what may work for them may not work for you. And so I'm not saying I'm against coaches. Like I'm definitely for coaches. I'm definitely for getting help and clarity. Like shoot, like I even offer a clarity call, right, where I help people. But I'm very like when it comes to that now, I'm very aware, so I'm very delicate when it comes to that. Um, and very careful. It's like you want to make sure that when you're getting a coach, that they're aligning with your intuition and they're allowing you to breathe. They're allowing you to also think for yourself and do the right actions for you because it's never one size fit all. And so I kind of just realized that there's this dependence like on a coach. And like even now, I've been really learning to just trust myself. I've been on that journey, but there's times where I go back and forth and I'm like, maybe I should just get a coach so I could get all the answers. But it's not really true. They don't really have the answers. But it's almost like an addiction. It's like you're addicted with someone helping you, like having a crush, and it's learning to like trust yourself again, learning to trust your own intuition. And when I really thought about it, like right now I'm talking about how I was afraid of failing. But I thought I was afraid of failing, but I wasn't. And basically I went to an identity switch workshop. And what she did for me was she it was a group, and she made us close our eyes, and we basically went through a whole exercise to find what the deeper thread was. And then she made us close our eyes, like deeper problem, right? She made us close our eyes, and then she was like, "What is that deepest fear behind that thread?" And when I closed my eyes, it was what came out was I was not happy and satisfied. I was afraid to be happy and satisfied, which led me to then go deeper. And I was like, why am I afraid to be happy and satisfied? Yeah, exactly. It was, and so I'm just walking people through it, that experience. And then once I went deeper, I realized that, and then analyzed it with her. She was like, oh, it's the fear of deeper vulnerability. And then once I went deeper, right, you see where it's going? That's when I realized it really stemmed from that moment with the coach where I was growing a singles page. It was doing well, but I had a lot of uncertainties about it because I didn't know like how to move forward with it in terms of selling at the time because it was a different realm. And so then I didn't trust myself. And hey, Valika, and I didn't trust myself. And so then I ended up hiring the coach, but at the time it didn't feel like that, right? At the time, it just felt like, oh, I'm getting answers. So basically, that this is what something I've been walking through is learning to just trust myself, and then learning to also like be in my own creativity and not depend on outside voices because we don't realize how much we're influencing, how much it influences us. Um, and so, and I think a lot of people, not, I don't think it's only me because in that class, like everyone was like, yeah, like I've been working on that, like not just always hiring someone, trying to get outside advice. Um, and I realized like this has been something that I had worked on when it came to like even like when I was younger, I would always go to people in my church and because I didn't have a lot of support, and I would always talk about my issues. And it was fine for a while, but then you get to a point where you're like, I need to just solve this on my own. Um, because what happens is when you go to multiple people, I don't know if you experience this, but you go to multiple people and then they'll give you 10,000 different advice. And I remember there was a point, and it's taking me back, but I remember there was a point where I was just trying to decide what to do for school. And I remember I was asking multiple people. And the more I asked people, the more I got more confused. Um, And so I've been just walking through this journey of, yes, it's important to have outside guidance, but it's also important to be listening to yourself. Like, you should have the last word. But when it comes to figuring out what you need to do next, your next steps, like, you can ask people for guidance, but like, you have to be the last say and word and follow what like that voice is telling you. Like you just can't base it on what other people are thinking. And also, you sometimes I think it's important to not give people too much credit, because just because they have more experience, because their experience that they have may not be relevant to you. Um, and so going back to where I was coming from is, I remember there's a point where I was talking to the facilitator, and there was a point where she said, think about it. Like, a lot of times when you figure out what to do next, sometimes it's not someone telling you. Um, oh, thank you, Crystal. How are you doing, girl? How's everything? Thank you. I'm trying something new with my hair. This is for my birthday hair. Thank you so much. Um, but yeah, and so I remember there was a point where she was like, sometimes you'll get ideas and it's not from people. And I thought about it. Yeah, it's so good to see you. So glad that you're good. So just in case you just jumped in, I'm just talking about my experience going to a identity switch. I may be butchering it, but identity switch workshop. And basically it helps you, like, basically find any fears, like underlying fears that you have, limiting beliefs. Um, and so my limiting belief was, where I quickly found out that my fear was being happy and satisfied, which led to something deeper of basically the fear of, a deep fear of vulnerability, and then finding out where it stemmed from. Basically, where it stemmed from was like back in COVID, where I was growing a singles page, and I had a lot of loyal followers. Oh, thank you, Chloe. Thank you. My voice feels normal, but thank you that you think that. Um, I think my voice is a little rusty, but thank you. So does that mean I should do some podcast then? I'm just kidding. Since you enjoy my voice. Um, by the way, I'm thinking about doing like some type of like private space, like private. I first thought it was a private podcast, but like a private group where we all guys, so we could all meet and talk about different topics and actually join in the conversation. Because I'm realizing that, like, there's a lot of places that we can't really have that safe space to have real discussions. So it's something that I'm thinking of like just launching and making it like really cheap, and then just meet up every month or something and build like great relationship. Um, okay, Stephanie, have a good day, girl. So something that I'm really thinking about doing, because I really enjoy these like chats and stuff, and it's really a good way to connect. But yeah, so where was I going with this? So going back to what I was talking about, the deeper vulnerability in a trap. And so basically, um, in the last like 1 or 2 years, um, I've been really working on just listening to myself, because I realized, because I was always using guides, and like when I say guides, I mean coaches, like people guiding me. Um, I ended up being in a place where I want to say I didn't want to be. Like, I was doing what I know, guys. So like my first coach was right out of a laid off job. So I was doing what I know, but I always thought that, oh, like business just meant like you have to make money, you have to like just hustle, be in your masculine energy, and just be like chasing after clients and making some fast money, like doing like when I say fast money, not drug money, but like fast money in terms of like having a marketing agency and getting clients. And I thought that that was that life. Um, but once I got introduced to like, doing YouTube and like encouraging women, it was a whole new world for me. But it was very uncomfortable. And this is what this facilitator said that really stuck with me. She said, usually, when you're in alignment with your purpose, it's going to feel slower. And the stuff that you're usually out of alignment with, it's going to feel faster. And I was like, dang, I don't know. It stuck with me. You know when you see a movie and it just keeps on repeating? And when she said that, like it really hit home for me because I was like, oh my god, this is what I've been trying to like figure out like how to like put it in words, and that's what it feels like where I am right now. It's very uncomfortable. I'm in a comfortable place where I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm starting to figure it out. I'm starting to realize like I love building community. I love talking to you guys. Like I love doing these lives like daily as much as I can, or as much as 4 or 5, 6 times a week. Um, but there's times where it gets impatient, and I wonder if you guys have any like dreams you've been wanting to do where you feel like it just goes so slow. And it's like, you ever notice like the things that you don't really like that much, or the things that like you may be good at, but you're not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to spend Einstein time. And what that just means is the idea of Einstein time is that you could be in a room and like work on your passions for like hours. And it may only feel like an hour, but it's really been like for 5 hours because you don't realize the time passing by. And I realized that we don't usually get that opportunity, and we sometimes fall into things that it doesn't necessarily align with our purpose, but we end up just doing it because we're good at it, or we always been doing it. So then it tends to go fast. You don't really notice like the time in terms of not Einstein time, but you don't really notice that how to explain it? Like you don't really notice like it just you're just making money from it. Like you're it's just, I don't want to say it's falling into place, but it's like when you love something, it feels slower. Like it's very hard to explain actually. It's like when you love something, you want it to move faster because you love it so much, right? You're in the Einstein time, so you're like, oh my god, I just want like more of this. You just want to be embraced with this. But it's like when you don't enjoy that thing, you don't feel the same way. You're just like, whatever, I'm just doing what I have to do, and then you just make it happen. Like, have any of you guys experienced that where you're maybe in a job that you don't like, or you're in a season where you're like, oh, like this is a drag, like type thing. But like what you really want to do, and you're like, I want it to come sooner, God. Send it to me. Send it to me. And so yeah, so when she said that, the alignment thing, like how it feels slower, and she's like, you tend to have to trust yourself more when you like that thing so much. Um, because now it's like you notice every step. Like I find when you know what you're doing, like in a sense is working, and it feels good, it's like you tend to notice everything. And I find that I have to find my wins more, because I'm like, okay, like this is not where I wanted to be yet because I enjoy it, but like I have to find a win. So in my case, I'll give you an example. It was like doing these lives, since I've been able to connect more with subscribers and meet new people, right? And I've noticed like subscriber count has went up and watch time has went up. um, but obviously, like, there's the aspect where I'm like, okay, like I want the sales to increase type thing. Um, where in like previous businesses I had, it was so fast. Like 5 weeks, I was doing like 5 figures, like chasing after clients, like stuff like that, like getting more people. But it's a little different. It feels slower. It's like time just slows down. And she said this thing where she's like, usually when you're in alignment with your purpose, it's like you have to become that person that you need to be in order to be like fully in that space in your purpose. Like it's like you're growing at the same time so you can handle what's to come when it comes to your purpose. And I have to admit, it feels like growing pains. Like when she said that, I was like, oh my god, it's like growing pains, because there's gonna be so many outside sources, and this is what I'm noticing. There's gonna be outside sources that tells you, oh, just give up, or this is not working. But it is like, is this really true? Right? And I found that I have to find the things that are working, and not focus on the typical things that I would focus on. Because that's all I knew, guys. Like being in masterminds, like all we would focus on is target and all that stuff. But now it's like different. Like it's just like I love building relationship and just slowly building a community, um and I love the feeling. I notice like my mental health has gone better, guys. If you have not followed the things that you've been wanting to follow, please do. Like your mental health will just get better a lot of times. Like, and I'm not saying for everyone, but there's a huge stat where it talks about like there's a lot of people, it's a high percentage of people who are not doing the purpose that they're meant to do. And there's a lot of depression, anxiety, fear, and all that stuff that comes along with it because you're not in the purpose that you have. Like I think back at like the jobs that I've done, and you guys can pitch and let me know what your experience has been. But like, have you ever been in a job where it just affects your mood? And like, dude, like you wake up in the morning and it's like you're fighting, okay? You're fighting to like get up and like go to the job. You're like dragging yourself. Like, have you been in that situation where you just like you hate the job and then your mood like goes down and it's like you're crying to work and you're like, I hate this. I don't want to say it. And you're like, I don't want to do this. Like, if this is all that there is to life, I don't want to do this. And it literally affects your mood. Like, guys, I used to be crying to work. Okay. I'd be walking to work and I'm crying and be like, I hate this. I don't want to say it. Right. And so like I think like what you do and what you do in your life, especially for 40 hours, really affects your mood. As much as people don't talk about it, a lot of the times, it's like depression stems from that. Like you being sad all the time stems from that. Like you being full of anxiety, like stems from that. Fear of the future stems from that. Like where everything you're like, you feel like you're walking on eggshells around your life because you're like, oh my God, like, I don't know how to get out of this. Like, there's so much that stands in, and you're like, I feel stuck. I don't know how to get out of this. How the heck am I going to get out of this? And it's like, you can't find your way around. Like, there's no straight path. Like, it sucks. Have any of you guys been in that situation? Let me know in the comments. But um if you could find something that you enjoy doing, and even if it's like you may not know your purpose, some people don't, and you have to figure it out. But like if even if you don't know your purpose, you're finding a hobby outside of your job. Like this is so important because it helps your mental health so much. Like finding things that you enjoy, I found that my mental health has went down. Like it has gone up, sorry. It's gotten so much better. Like even since doing these lives, I was figuring out that like I enjoy doing it. I feel way more happier. And I remember I was telling my therapist, we were having a conversation, and I said, hey, like, I don't know where this is going. I'm being real with you guys. I was like, I don't know where this is going, where these lives will take me. But I'm like, so far, I've been enjoying it. I notice my mood has been lifted. So I'm just going to lean into it. And sometimes you just have to lean into things. Even if you don't know, like, like the how, but you just lean into the things that's serving you. Because a lot of times we tend to lean into things that's not working for us. It's just our toxic traits. We lean into things that are not working to us, and we lean into the things that maybe we're not even good at. Like I remember I spent many years like being a job that was just killing me, but didn't even realize it. But because like it was that toxic trait, that's all you knew. You just continuously go back to it, and it sucked. You continuously go back to the thing that was not working or that was putting you down, and then you go into the spiral because then it affects your self esteem. Your self esteem starts to go down because you continue doing the thing that's not like really serving you. And then you go in this spiral like round and round, and you're like, oh, I'm trying to get out, but this is all I know. So then you go back and you're going in a rat race. It sucks. Like it sucks. Let me know if you've been through that, like if you can relate to that. Um, but yeah, once you can figure out how to get out of that. So sometimes for me, it's like even just like taking a walk, like something so simple, like it's like if you're trying to set, like if you're in a place where in a season where you're like, okay, I have no choice but to stay in it right now. It's like you need to find other things that gives you joy. Like it's so important. I know I talk about it a lot, but like you have to find things that give you joy, and you have to see the growth in the things that you may not see the growth in. And you have to realize that sometimes the thing you enjoy is going to have some slow growth. It's going to be so slow. It's going to be slow. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to be okay with trusting the process and trusting yourself and knowing that you're going to get the answers and believing that you're going to get the answers and believe that you're going to get the steps as you take action. You don't see first and then you do, okay? You do first, and then eventually you'll see, right? You have faith first, right? You have faith, and then you do, and then eventually you see. It's not the other way around. I think a lot of times we want to see first. Like that's how we are. Sometimes I'm like, God, give me the 47 steps. I want to see all 47 steps. But the truth is that if we saw the steps, most likely you wouldn't move forward. You wouldn't go anywhere. You most likely, if you saw the challenges that were to come to get through to what you need to get to, you probably wouldn't do it. You would get so discouraged because you're like, okay, this is too hard. Like the stuff that I have to fight for. And then a lot of times it's like you have to fight for it. Like sometimes you're gonna have to go through physical exhaustion to get to the point, get to where you need to go. Like it's not gonna always feel like roses, bed of roses. And I think we have this assumption that, oh, like when you're trying to do the things you enjoy doing and you love, it's gonna feel like roses. Like the road's just gonna open up and you're gonna just have to walk through it. No. No, like the enemy's out there and he's there to destroy you. He's there to, he is there. He doesn't want you to get to your purpose. Like, why would he want you to inspire people, all that stuff? Like if you're doing something that's there to impact people, it's like our purpose is so powerful. I think we underestimate it. So, because the fact that we think it will be easy, it's not. Like most of the time, you have to fight for what you want. And I'm reminded of this every day. Like I'm guilty where sometimes I'm like, man, I wish this should be feel easy. Like I love doing it. It should feel easy. And I'm not saying it's always hard, but there's a point where it's like there's a part of you that usually has to fight for what you want. So it's like if you're in a job right now and you're not liking it, and then you're making excuses and saying, well, I'm tired after work and I can't do X, Y, and Z. That's your sign you need to fight for it. Because how else, think about it, when you put common sense into this, okay? How else are you supposed to transition into the very thing or grow the very thing that you've been wanting to grow? Um, if you choose not to make any sacrifices, it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require risk. It's just the way it is. Like it's going to require a lot of willpower. So there'll be times you're going to come home and you're going to be tired. You're going to be like, I'm tired. And you're going to have to fight through it. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. And you're going to be like, okay, like maybe I have to do like 30 minutes. Like sometimes we think we have to do like hours. It may just be 15 minutes. And that's all you need to get yourself going. I remember I read this book, We Need Your Art. You should check it out, by the way. And she talked about doing like an art reset. So like if you ever felt like it's not only for artists though, it's just like in general if you're creative or you like creating things or you have dreams, whatever it is, you'll do a reset. And it could be a little as 15 minutes. And you set that boundary where you're like, I'm not gonna go past 15 minutes. I'm not going past 15 minutes. And then what you'll do is every day you'll just work in that thing. And I found out I actually tried it because this was a time where I was basically losing my creativity. I was in a slump. And I noticed that every time I would do the 15-minute chunk of whatever I enjoy, it was like you start to just build this taste where you're like, I just want to go longer. And then you tell yourself, no, only 15 minutes. And you'd be surprised of the amount of things you can get done in 15 minutes. But my point is, it's not about the 15 minutes. It's sometimes you just have to make time for the things that you want, even though it may be inconvenient. Because the truth is, there's no perfect time. Like it's like life is never gonna lie. You're always gonna have bills. You're always gonna have things to pay for. There's always gonna be things that you need to do, and it gets to the point where you have to force life to yield. You're not making life yield. You're not. You're not making life. You are not yielding to life. You're forcing life to yield to what you want. Like you run things, not the other way around. Like life should not be pulling you by, guys. Like it should not be pulling you, like just stringing you, pulling you anywhere, like to left and fro, right, left, whatever, top, bottom. Like you should be in charge of. You should be taking the reins and controlling and telling life, this is how I want it to go. Like this is what I want to create. Like sometimes you have to use your authority. Just use your authority and be like, this is what I want. And so this is what I'm going after. So even if I'm tired or even if it doesn't look like anything's happening, I'm going to work on it because this is what I want. And you can let me know if you've been through that. Like, let me know in the chat if you can relate to that. Um, but this is just stuff I've learned over time is like the stuff that we really want, we just have to fight for it. And I know like you probably hear this, but I don't think people like really internalize it where you're like, no, like you literally have to fight with for it. Like when everyone else is going out and having fun, Like you have to like manage your time and be like, okay, I'm gonna stay in because I know if I go out, I'm gonna miss this and this and this day. Or you have to learn to like balance your time and figure it out. So yeah, so that's my like story on my fear of deeper vulnerability. And really learning to trust myself. Just coming out of that workshop, it made me realize like how important it is to trust yourself, and stay in the process and just lean into the things that are working. Like, don't worry about the things that are not working, and don't even tell yourself. Like, if you feel like something's not working in your life, like don't even focus on that, because the more you focus on it, the bigger it gets. Focus on the things that are working in your life, even if you find little small, tiny things, and you tell yourself it's working. Okay. And I'll end it with this question. It's like, what if the thing you're calling slow is actually growth? Right? What if the things that maybe you're calling that's not working is actually growth? And it's actually growing you and preparing you to walk in the thing that God has for you. That's your purpose. Right? But yeah, so as always, I have the build where we are clarity call. So if you want to hash it out, talk it out, figure out what your next steps are, you know what to do. It's in the description. Um, and I think these type of calls are important because it's always nice to get an outside perspective. But for me, what's really important is that you're following your intuition and you're really trusting yourself, and you come on that call feeling like, okay, I could trust myself, type thing. So as always, it's in the description. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Bye.